Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. This is episode 335, as well as day 335 of my journey. At the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days in a row, all outside, bearing the elements, whatever they may bring. I also challenged myself to run 1,500 miles within this time frame, and to run two big major races within this time frame. One of those races being a 50K ultra marathon trail race, the other one of those races being a marathon. I was able to run that 50K trail race on June 5th, 2021. That was day 156 of my journey. I was able to finish that 31-mile race within 7 hours, 15 minutes, and 22 seconds. The next race that came up within this yearly time frame was on day 290, and that was the Detroit Free Press Marathon, and I ran that race within 3 hours, 57 minutes, and 28 seconds. So both of those races were personal records for me, not to mention that I was able to keep the streak alive since both of those big races, now that we're here on day 335. So let's actually break down the mileage for the day today, the week, the month, and the year, and then we can kind of get into today's episode. So for the day today, day 335, got out there. It was December 1st, but it is the middle of the week. So for the day today, put in 6.2 miles, so that put me at 20.4 miles for the week, which put me at 6.2 miles for the month, which put me at 1,581.6 miles for the year. So clearly I have crossed that 1,500 mile mark for the year. The original mile mark was 1,250. Switched it to 1,500. So now I think I'm aiming right for the 1,750 mark. I haven't made it the official goal, but that's what I'm aiming for now, that we have crossed that 1,500 mile mark. We are 81.6 miles over that 1,500 mile mark. So let's focus in on these monthly miles, though, of 6.2 miles. So every single month I challenge myself to run a 100-mile challenge, and I do that in honor of a charity in which I donate money to, as well as start a coinciding fundraiser to try to raise money for, as well as awareness for. For the first 11 months of the year, raise money for 11 great charities. Now we're here within the 12th month, the month of December, and for the month of December, we're raising money for yet another great charity. This charity for the month of December's 100-mile challenge is St. Jude Children's Hospital. So if you would like to donate to this month's fundraiser, you can find the link to do so on the Defining Discipline Instagram story, or the Defining Discipline Facebook story, or my personal page's Instagram story, or my personal page's Facebook story. Within all of those stories, any of those stories I should say, you click on the link and it'll open up the actual Facebook page where you're able to make your donations. Keep in mind that all donations that do get made to this cause and this fundraiser go directly to this cause and fundraiser, all 100% of your donations. Facebook is not taking or keeping any percentage or portion of your donations. So know that every single penny is going directly to the cause, and other than that, if you would like to help out, because I do know times are tough, not everyone can afford to donate, but sharing is another way to truly help out this cause. So clicking on that share button and helping raise awareness for this cause throughout this month. Other than that, now that we kind of went across with that, we can get into today's actual episode right after we talk about today's word of the day. So for December 1st, today's word of the day is derrick. A derrick is a tall framework over an oil well that supports equipment used in drilling. That is very interesting. So that is the word of the day today. Not necessarily want to screenshot it. I'm not going to. I don't see a great, why not, screenshot. So that is today's word of the day for the day. Derek, December 1st. Now let's get into today's actual episode 335. Today's theme for today's episode is seasons. And for a couple different reasons. One, the multiple different seasons we have gone throughout this year, starting with winter, technically, winter of 2020, 2021. Started off the year basically in the middle of winter. Was able to push through that and get to spring, where the weather started to warm up a bit. Felt kind of nice throughout there. And then the dreadful months that I definitely do not like running in was the summer. I never really liked running in hot weather. I never really liked hot weather in general. So this is only my second year ever running. I figured in the first year of the summer is what really kind of got to me, where I started to really fall off of my running in 2020. So I assumed the summer wasn't going to be very thrilling this year. And actually, to my surprise, I was wrong. The summer turned out to be pretty damn good. I definitely enjoyed it. August, still, I kind of fell off a little bit. But, throughout the actual overall, throughout the summer, it was a good summer. The heat, I feel like, I was able to really kind of adjust to it from the first year, and just being able to kind of like me running every day and actually being out in the weather. I felt like I was able to kind of really adjust to the heat a lot, and it didn't weigh down on me as much as it did the previous years. And then we, pushed into fall, and fall was yet another great season. Really pumped out a lot of miles here throughout the fall. Technically, you can't consider November fall. Maybe you can. But throughout November, October, was able to run that marathon and get a time I was shooting for. Still put in a lot of miles. Actually caught COVID in October, and still was able to push through and keep the streak alive. So yeah, I went through all of these seasons, throughout just this year, and was able to really, prevail through all of them. Nothing was able to really hold me back, keep me down. May it be the cold weather, the wet, damp, chilly weather throughout spring, the hot, humid, sticky, heat stroke weather throughout the summer. Made it through that. Back to the damp, chilly weather of the fall, into the cold, damp, chilly, snowy weather of the winter again, and made that full rotation through the seasons, and feeling pretty good. Now, the other reason I kind of wanted to talk about it, or themed today's episode, seasons, because we are closing out the season as well. This is closing out the season in two different realms, I guess you could say. One, the actual season, the yearly season. We are closing it out, the whole year in general. We are on the cusp of closing out the year. 30 days left after today's run. 30 more runs, and have officially ran every single day this year. Now, for closing out the season, the other flip side of that is we are actually closing out season 1 as well of this podcast. We're going to be definitely changing up. I'm not going to be recording and posting episodes every single day. Going to keep the run streak alive, going to keep running, going to keep posting photos. That doesn't take as much, and not doing as much photos. It's not going to be as involved as it is currently right now. It's almost a little too involved where I'm not able to give, so much attention and so much quality to a lot of these episodes because it's just so much time throughout my day to do the running, the episodes, work, dealing with the family. So definitely going to be cutting that back here coming up in the next quote unquote season. But, we're coming to a close here in this season. It's been a great season. It's been definitely, I guess the word I'm looking for is surprising, eye opening, and the fact that, not that I was in complete disbelief that I was able to do this. I always believed I was able to do it. But it just seemed so out of reach, so crazy, so impossible. I guess you could say it just seemed impossible. Not that it was impossible, but just the odds and of everything stacking up. It just seemed not doable. And to kind of look at it and look back, it's crazy to think, 30 days away from closing out a full year of running in 2021. And to think back to just day one, challenging myself to this and thinking, this year is going to be hard as hell, and questioning myself if I'll be able to run every single day, and what day would I give up on, and yada, yada, yada. And making it that first actual 30 days, making that first month, and after doing that, being able to really look and be like, you know what, I can do this. I think if I can push it 1 month, I could do this 11 more times. And, now we're here, and now I can do this one more time. And it's just insane to really think about it, how we're truly closing out this season. And another reason I wanted to kind of theme this seasons, this is a different season, but I am becoming seasoned. And what I mean by that is I'm becoming more experienced and being able to really deal with a lot of the issues and stuff that have been coming up throughout these years when trying to start running, facing these certain conditions of even just the weather conditions, but any kind of problems or anything that pops up, ailments with the body, kind of really, obviously I think they're going to continuously pop up. I'm going to have injuries, I'm going to have soreness, I'm going to have things like that, but I've definitely become a more seasoned runner throughout this year to look back and think about in the year when I started, late 2019, 2020 being the first full year of running, thinking back then and not even knowing truly anything about runs and races and all of that, and to just kind of see how I've developed over these past 2 years, especially this last year, how seasoned I have become and how experienced I've become by literally going out there, putting in the work, all of the different things that I've learned throughout these years of, workload and how much effort I want to put in. And, when something starts to feel like it's starting to get sore or tight, how to deal with that. Just in 2020 having real bad knee injuries and realizing we're trying to do everything, wearing knee sleeves and this and this and this and that, and finally figuring out the whole time it's just me not stretching my hips. So there's all these different things that you learn by coming across these problems, and you get that experience by going out there and doing it. And I can finally say, I'm not that I'm completely experienced and there's nothing else for me to learn. There's still so much for me to learn, but just to see how seasoned I have become throughout this year was another reason why I kind of wanted to theme today's episode seasons. And the last reason we themed today's episode seasons is because when you season something, you give it a little bit of spice, you give it a little bit of flavor you mix it up, and you give it a good taste when you go to season something. You could definitely over season something, you could definitely under season something, but the whole point of seasoning and using season when you're cooking or anything like that is to really spice it up and give it some flavor. And that is something that I've been trying to do, and it's been hard, like I said, with not being able to really put in a lot of focus into every episode because having a tight time frame. But trying to really end this month with a little bit of flavor, really pushing it, and crossing that 1750 mark would be nice. Adding some races here for 2022 and rolling into next year with a nice little bit of spice, a little bit of flavor, a little bit of season added to the actual podcast and um, the brand and everything like that. So that's kind of what I am hoping to do, is to really season it up a little bit here and try to finish the year off strong and roll into next year um, with a better plan and a little bit more tasteful things and more just a little bit more excitement, spice it up a little bit. So other than that, guys, your daily discipline for the day today, um, they kind of go over what I just kind of went over. One, look at the seasons in general, realize seasons change just like our moods, um, and to just kind of think back at this year of all the different changes that we have gone throughout these seasons of the year, as well as to figure out something within your life, something that is meaningful, something that you can do, something that gives you purpose, something that makes you feel great, that you can go out every day and put work in, and even if you're starting from day one, scratch, not very good at something, but really just if you're passionate and you put work in it at it and you work on it every single day, you can eventually start to become seasoned. So that is something that could be your daily discipline for the day today as well. It is to really work at becoming seasoned within something, gaining that experience, being accustomed to particular conditions when they arise. So that is your daily discipline for the day. Other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for following along and listening. I am your host, Scott. This is the Defining Discipline podcast. This is episode 335, day 335. If you guys can, please give it the podcast a like, subscribe, follow, share, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and whatever podcast streaming platform you've been following along and listening on. The whole point of this podcast has been to follow me along on my journey as I try to develop one, my running, but two, just to work on myself on an individual level. And I'd say that because I truly believe that if we want to make the world a better place, where we can start is working on ourselves. We are all flawed. We all have our own problems. We all have our own things that need, our own issues that need to be solved. And I think if we start really truly focusing on our own issues and our own problems and our own evil contributions to this world, no matter how big or small they may seem, I think if we truly do that, that we can make the world a better place. So that's kind of what this podcast message and just overall this podcast has kind of been about. It's been about following me on my journey as I try to develop, as I try to become a better person and the best version of myself as possible, while also working on my health and my exercise while trying to become an ultra runner and really push myself to those limits. So hopefully you can get a good message out of this podcast, and hopefully we can all work on ourselves on an individual level and make this world a better place. So other than that, thanks so much for listening. Again, this is the Defining Discipline podcast, episode 335. I'm your host, Scott. And until tomorrow, episode 336, make sure you get your daily discipline done. Stay disciplined, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Also, get your donations in if you guys can. All right, peace out. Thank you.